Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much for tuning in. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing, who will never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. Okay, we got a lot to cover. I want to start with the Trump sentencing first. Okay, we got a lot to cover on the podcast, but I want to start with that because this is more important than I think it's being given credit for in the news, okay? Judge Merchan's corrupt. We know this. We've talked endless about the daughter raising the $100 million and all that stuff. And he gave this bizarre sentence that I never heard of in my life. No jail time, no probation, no nothing. But you did something. It's almost like, why is there a conviction if there's no sentencing? There's a few things about this that have to be discussed and have to be taken care of, okay? Number one, we all know now all the media, every time they mention President Trump, they're going to tell you he's a convicted felon, the first convicted felon, he's a convicted felon, the first convicted felon who's president-elect, the first convicted felon. You know, because of this, he can't possess a gun, but he has the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine, Space Force, a nuclear arsenal, spaceships at his command, nuclear missiles at his command, but he can't possess a pistol. Insane. Here is why this is important to correct and get set straight. Obviously, the conviction means nothing at this point. If Trump had not won re-election, he would have been sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Absolutely.
And would be in a holding cell right now in Rikers Island, okay, ready to go away to prison for the next 10 years, okay?
No doubt.
So the fact that he won re-election is the reason he is not in jail right now, right? I mean, I think everybody agrees with that. I mean, I know you do, Kathy, because we've talked about this.
I was concerned that this judge was going to put off sentencing until he got out of office.
Yeah.
So I'm relieved that did not happen and that this is over and done with for President Trump, and he'll appeal this, and I'm sure it'll get overturned, because that was my main concern, that he'll wait 4 years and then he'll sentence him. And then he'd put him in jail. So I am grateful that did not happen.
Well, I believe the judge is scared, okay? And
I would think so.
Now that this happened, this sentencing, the judge no longer is involved in the case. It's moved on to the appellate courts is where it will go.
Yeah, and it'll get overturned.
So he's like washed his hand. I want nothing to do with it. Like, you know, which I don't think that's going to fly. I think Pam Bondi, our attorney general, is going to look into it, and the judge very well could end up in prison himself for all the things that we've talked about all this time. But here's the thing. While it doesn't mean anything to us now because we understand what this is. They just want to be able to call him a convicted felon. I mean, this conviction was just fake news media narrative, just like David Muir with the clothespin on the raincoat, right, at the fire in Los Angeles. It was something crafted to give them a narrative against him. But here's the problem. The history books is written by the left, okay? History is written by liberals, both in, you know, the history books that are written and published, that are in schools and everything, and by the media. This has to be corrected. It has to be corrected big time because President Trump is a great president. He is without question the greatest president of any of our lifetimes, and I believe he's up there. I believe he is one of the three greatest presidents in the history of the United States: George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Donald Trump. And
Brian,
I'm not kidding.
only is he a great president, he's a great man.
Yeah, but this is why this has to be corrected. While we know what this is all about, the judge, the daughter getting the money, they just wanted a media narrative. In 50 years, people won't know that. Let me give you an example. Most Americans think Richard Nixon was impeached and removed from office. None of that's true. Nixon resigned. He was not impeached. He resigned before they even had an impeachment vote or hearing or anything.
I've heard people in the news say he was impeached. They don't even know.
No. You see how these things happen.
Yeah, they alter it.
So if this is not fixed and clearly fixed, history will remember Donald Trump as a convicted felon. And in 100 years, 150 years, we'll all be dead, but they'll be sitting around talking about there was this corrupt president and he was a convicted felon and his name was Donald Trump. And I don't think President Trump's very much into history and legacy, and he understands these things, and I think he wants that corrected. I do too, and it's really bad. When the Jimmy Carter funeral was going on yesterday, and you had all the presidents sitting there, if you looked at all of them, the only two that were there that have any historical significance are Obama and Trump. Obama because he's the first black president, and Trump because he has the non-consecutive term, which is a big deal.
Well, not just that. I mean, he was impeached twice. He is a convicted felon, technically. He was shot.
Well, we want. Yeah,
I mean, so many things happened to him. But we want this collectively that have never happened to anybody in office.
This convicted felon thing needs to be corrected.
It will be.
Judge Merchan and everyone connected with this needs to be arrested and tried and hopefully convicted and sent to prison. Everyone connected to this. His reputation and record need to be totally cleared and in the court of public opinion, but in the history books as well, so people 50 and 150 years from now know the truth. The other thing is, I was watching the verdict on Fox, okay, and with Turley, and who's that ex-congressman with the funny hair that we don't like? Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy was on. Yeah. And I don't know
he's had a lot of work done.
I don't know too much about Trey Gowdy, but is he transitioning? This guy, let me tell you, Trey Gowdy, he has had more cosmetic surgery than any man I've seen on television. Something weird is going on with that man's hair. Uh-huh. Very, very strange. But I was getting very frustrated with Turley. And, Turley is a Democrat. He was giving legal analysis about everything that was happening today, but he was giving analysis as if this was a legitimate court and a legitimate judge who came to a legitimate conclusion for the most part. He didn't get into this judge is corrupt. His daughter raised $100 million from Democrats. He left seats open in the courtroom so his daughter could bring Democrats in who were donating money to see a president on trial. And I was getting so ticked off at Turley watching him give analysis like this is some legit process. Now, the thing about the court, the Supreme Court, the Trump Supreme Court, the Republican Supreme Court, the Conservative Supreme Court, the MAGA Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade, yesterday refused to do away with this sentencing and allowed it to happen. And it happened because two Republicans, John Roberts, the traitorous Chief Justice who gave us Obamacare, flipped with the liberals, and Amy Coney Barrett. And on the morning show today, a lady called. She says, "What's going on with Amy Coney Barrett?" And I said, "She's the one who gave Trump COVID." Mm-hmm. She gave when
her and her family gave it to him.
When Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court, she gave him COVID. And let me tell you, he had COVID worse than is publicly known. I've talked to people who were with him. And when he walked out to the helicopter in front of the White House, it was bad. They didn't know if he was coming back, okay? Amy Coney Barrett gave him COVID. A lot of people think that was the first assassination attempt on Trump, okay? A lot of people think that. So it doesn't surprise me that Amy Coney Barrett did what she did. And I don't buy this narrative. Oh, the Supreme Court, they were doing him a favor. He wanted this to no. The Supreme Court allowed Amy Coney Barrett, and John Roberts is compromised. We know this with Obamacare, okay? And it's been a long time, so I'll just give you guys the Reader's Digest version. In 2010, when Obamacare was being debated, most conservatives, including myself, didn't have a worry because we thought the Supreme Court was going to overturn it because it's unconstitutional to make people buy a product. And the Supreme Court, word came out of the Supreme Court that they were going to rule against it. And then at the last moment, John Roberts changed his opinion. In fact, he changed his opinion. And it was reported at the time that John Roberts and Scalia got into a knockout, drag-out screaming match over it. Blitzer on CNN's initial report was the Supreme Court overturned Obamacare, and we knew then he had been compromised. Okay, so the Amy Coney Barrett caught me off guard, but then I remembered she gave Trump COVID, and it's like, oh, okay. These people that are compromised, they pull them out when there's something big. Obamacare, or making Trump a convicted felon. Okay, so that's what happened. And Obama, who was laughing at the Carter funeral with Trump, the reason he was laughing is because of this convicted felon ruling from the Supreme Court, and he knew Trump was going to be
he's not Trump's friend. Don't get that twisted. There's nothing sincere or genuine about President Obama. He cares about his image.
That's right.
That's all. He wants to look like a cool guy and a funny guy and a friendly guy, and he's the nice guy, okay?
No, he's a monster.
But that's all the image to the public.
Yeah.
When really behind the scenes, he's trying to destroy Trump and destroy this country. And I don't think Trump fell for it. I hope not, because Trump's a nice guy, and I think he likes to give people the benefit of the doubt, which could be probably his Achilles heel sometimes.
Yeah.
Is he's too nice. And, just because you sit there and yuck it up with somebody for 10 minutes doesn't mean you're going to win them over and they're going to all of a sudden be your friend.
Yeah, I agree.
This guy's not going to throw away his entire agenda for the country because they had a little tete-a-tete for 10 minutes at a funeral.
No.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. This guy is on a mission to destroy this country, to destroy everything we stand for. He blames us for colonialism. He, I believe, is responsible for flooding Europe with Muslims and bringing them into this country through the southern border. We're just large enough to absorb it all right now.
Yeah.
But that's not going to last forever. I saw a video in Italy where, and I hope Maloney's going to take care of this, you have Muslim men on the street approaching women, telling them that if they don't wear a hijab in public, they're going to come after them and do something. These people don't assimilate. It's not like the immigrants that came here that became American. They want to infiltrate these countries, and you assimilate to them.
That's
They're
right.
like the Borg.
Yeah. So this conviction of Trump, not only must it be overturned, the judge who brought down the conviction, he really needs to be investigated. And if he's committed crimes, as everyone suspects, he needs to be prosecuted.
Do you think Pam Bondi will?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, and Pam Bondi, she's not going to do what these others do. Appoint some special counsel that's going to spend 2 or 3 years investigating and come back with nothing, and some process crime on somebody you've never heard of. There's been some real serious crimes committed here, and it's important that all of these things get corrected. Now, with all that being said, out of the remaining cases, because everything's evaporating, right? The Fani Willis case is evaporating. She needs to go to jail too. This was a big one. And as we said a few minutes ago, if Trump had not been reelected, he would be sitting in a holding cell on his way to prison today.
No doubt about it.
There's no.
I said that to you. I said if he had not won, I said they would be hauling him off in handcuffs right now.
And people who when all this was going on, people were saying, "Oh, the Secret Service will never allow it." The Secret Service got him shot, and then a couple weeks later, they almost got him shot again.
That's right.
So they would have gone along with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
they would have escorted Trump to prison. Okay, they would have. We saw what they did.
Well,
in Butler.
I'm glad that's resolved, and Trump his lawyers will handle this. I'm confident it will get overturned on appeal because there's no there. The fact that he was not sentenced to anything, even probation or anything, that helps him on the appeal because there's no there. You know what I mean? And when it was brought, Bragg didn't even want to bring it at first. And then they had this other guy come in from Biden's administration. He resigned from his federal job to go work here and help. Or that might have been the Fani Willis. I can't remember which one is which. But he came, the guy was, there was definitely a link.
This one. This is the one.
Okay, so I really would like Pam Bondi to me, her number one job would be to show collusion with Biden and all these BS charges against Trump.
Yeah.
Atlanta, New York, all these things. I would like her to get to the bottom of that and find the smoking gun and find the communication. And, Fani Willis's lover said that he went to the White House multiple times, and we know she was there. So Pam Bondi, find those emails, those text messages, show the link where somebody with Biden or even Biden himself is communicating with these people, and let's bring it out in the open. That's what needs to be exposed.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They were given a directive by the Biden administration to do this. And that is going after your political enemies, what they accuse Trump of doing, which is ridiculous.
And all these prosecutors in the White House and the Justice Department colluding, that's criminal. That's a criminal conspiracy. That's the RICO. Okay? So it needs to be taken care of because Trump's historical name needs to be put in proper context, okay? Now, I want to tell you, this is exciting. This just dropped today. Mike Lindell, the inventor of the MyPillow. I call Mike Lindell the Thomas Edison of sleep because Thomas Edison didn't invent light. He just invented a better light that gave you long-lasting, incandescent light bulbs. That's true. It's a big deal, but he didn't invent light. Mike Lindell didn't invent sleep, but he invented a MyPillow and that patented fill inside that is giving you sleep like you've never had before. Mike Lindell's known for more than just sleep. He kind of his trademark is he wears a cross on the outside of his shirt. Yeah. Anytime you've seen Mike Lindell, you see that cross. He is now offering at mypillow.com the cross that he wears. You can buy the exact same cross that Mike Lindell wears. It's called My Cross.
Or the ladies' version.
Well, there's two versions. There's one for men and women.
Yeah.
The women's is a little smaller.
And it's white. And the men's is black onyx, and the women's is like mother of pearl.
Yeah, but if you want the same cross that Mike Lindell wears, and it's a beautiful cross, there's one for men, one for women, go to mypillow.com. It's called My Cross.
Yeah, very nice.
It's not just the cross; you get the necklace too. So it's the My Cross necklace. They're offering it for $40 off with our promo code Kane, and also free shipping. Okay, so it's a great deal. Valentine's Day is coming up.
Get a matching set. I think it's a wonderful idea.
I think maybe we should get. I know it kind of spoiled the surprise, Kathy, but I think we should get one each for us.
Yeah,
the My Cross. I think it'd be great.
I think that's a good idea.
So go to mypillow.com. This is the same cross that Mike Lindell himself wears.
Husbands can buy one if you want to surprise your wife. Get one for your wife and for yourself. And then when you give it to her, you take out yours and you're going to wear yours too. That would mean a lot.
It'd be cool.
To the wife if you wear one as with her. That'd be nice.
It's really cool. So go to mypillow.com, order your My Cross, the same cross that Mike Lindell himself wears. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It's $40 off and free shipping. That's promo code Kane, Kane at checkout at mypillow.com.
Speaking of crosses, it was really funny online yesterday. The cross that Pete Hegseth has on his arm or his chest or somewhere. His chest with the big cross in then the four little ones around it. And they kept telling it was Nazi, Hitler, all this stuff.
Yeah.
The cathedral where they had Jimmy Carter's funeral, that whole design was on the floor.
The whole floor was that
The whole floor was that design, the exact design on Pete Hegseth's chest. And it was on the cover of the program.
Yeah.
The cross, the big cross with the four little crosses, exactly the same as if they took it from Pete Hegseth's body and posted it on the thing. It was hilarious, and everybody was having fun with that on social media yesterday. So I guess it's okay for a cathedral to have. That is an old medieval symbol.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Christianity.
Now listen, we're going to take our first break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, if you're looking for a fast and easy way to improve your photos and videos, let me introduce you to Fancy AI, an AI-powered tool that does it all. With Fancy AI, you can remove backgrounds from images in seconds. Perfect for e-commerce. Enhance photos with sharper details and vibrant colors, all with one click. Enlarge images up to 4 times in ultra-high resolution, keeping everything crystal clear. And here's the best part. For the first week, you can get 300 edits for just a penny. That's right, just 1 cent for 300 edits. It's an amazing deal to try out all these powerful features. Check out fancyai.com in the show notes and start creating stunning visuals with Fancy AI today. Have you ever asked yourself, what is love? Is it passion? Is it sacrifice? Or is it something much deeper? Something we discover over time? Join author Moses Rondell on a journey through the mind of a young man navigating the complexities of love and relationships. In the book, Love Concoction, the realization of what love is. This coming-of-age story is a unique blend of logic and emotion, with a young man pouring his heart out in unfiltered journal entries, each a sip from his love concoction. With captivating
captivating insights, and a brutally honest take on romance, Love Concoction will challenge everything you think you know about falling in love and being in love. It's a reflection of our deepest desires and our fears. But beware, it's not for the faint of heart. Once you start, you will not be able to put this book down until the very last page. Love Concoction, the realization of what love is, from author Moses Rondell, is available right now on Amazon and loveconcoction.com in both Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now. The Hexagon Research Store is now live. Browse the unique selection and find something you like. Every purchase supports future innovations in research, software, and technology. Shop now at hexagonresearch.net. Thank you for your patronage. hexagonresearch.net. Are you ready to deepen your faith and embrace a life that's filled with wisdom, godliness, and purpose? You can do just that and more with the new book from author Pastor Jeremy Ratliff, Food for Thought, available on Amazon. Food for Thought is a powerful devotional that will guide you through daily reflections rooted in Scripture. It offers practical insights as well as thought-provoking questions to inspire true spiritual awakening. Food for Thought is an invitation to grow closer to Yahuwah, live authentically, and shine as a beacon of hope. Available now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Food for Thought is a great addition to your book club, your church group. It also makes the perfect gift. Start your journey right now with Food for Thought from author Pastor Jeremy Ratliff and transform your spirit one day at a time. Food for Thought on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. All right. So yesterday, President Trump was meeting with governors, and he had a bit of a press conference at Mar-a-Lago, and Peter Doocy was asking some good questions. He's back on Trump duty, right, because he's the White House correspondent, and he asked President Trump about the drones, which have disappeared from the news like that, right? And I want to play this. President Trump talking with Doocy about the drones.
The story that kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment.
Glenn Youngkin.
We are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the
Governor of Louisiana.
The FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones, and it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor. You going to say?
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as
everywhere.
Well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st, the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is. They know And it's very strange that they aren't talking about it.
You know who I saw? This is
where Space Force is needed.
This is the all governors you're hearing from that we're talking, Wyoming, New Orleans. And I saw Governor Judas sitting there at the table, Ron DeSantis.
Oh, yeah.
Ron DeSantis was way far away from Trump, and he was like in the dark, didn't even have a light on him. Now,
that was not an accident.
What Trump was taught, no, they gave him.
I can promise
they gave him like the worst seat. But
Trump's punishing him.
This was interesting because it sounded like President Trump. He knows that the government knows what it is,
right?
But it sounds like he doesn't know exactly what they're doing.
Not yet, but he will.
Like he hasn't been briefed yet on exactly what's going on. But you listen to these different governors,
probably because he's not in office yet. He's a civilian, so I know he's an ex-president. But ex-presidents don't get as many briefings as current presidents, I would imagine.
He's president-elect, so they're supposed to get him up to speed on everything. So at noon on the 20th, when he's inaugurated, he knows everything that's going on.
He's going to have a full docket.
But they're apparently not giving him full briefings. But you listen to these governors, they are over all power things, military bases. And obviously it sounds like China, right? It's a spy operation. I bet you that
it sounds like
now we may not know all of this on day one when President Trump releases the information, and presidents can declassify anything just with their word. So President Trump could declassify our most secrets just by saying so at any time when you're president. Okay, so this could go quickly. Now we may not know everything in the beginning. It may take some time for things to get fleshed out, but I bet you that those Chinese spy balloons are connected to the drones. That, this Chinese spy balloons took a very strategic move across the country. They were mapping things. Mm-hmm. And I bet you they used the information from those balloons to set up the navigation for these drones. And what I'm guessing is, because this sounds like China spying, they're going over all of our most secret places. They go over power plants. Those are what they're going over, just like with the spy balloon. The drones are going over the places that you would target nuclear weapons in an attack. You got to take out the power stations, the military bases.
Yes.
That's the critical infrastructure.
Right.
Critical infrastructure are like when you and I were in middle school, Kathy, here in Florida. I took a field trip when I was in 8th grade to Port Everglades. And Port Everglades is in Fort Lauderdale. It's where we're sailing out for our cruise in March. There's a power plant there. And I got a tour of the power plant with my 8th grade class.
Yes.
And they told us that I learned something that they really weren't supposed to tell us. Somebody messed up. There was a government intelligence gathering outpost inside the port that was monitoring. This was in the 80s, guys, okay? This was in the 80s. Kathy and I were in middle school in the 1980s during the Cold War. They were monitoring Soviet submarine activity off the coast of Florida from the port here in Fort Lauderdale. And they said that it is believed that Russia, the Soviet Union, had a nuclear missile aimed directly at Fort Lauderdale, like Fort Lauderdale was a target because it's a strategic port during the Soviet Union days. So all these things that they're targeting are things that the Chinese would want to hit with nuclear weapons if there was a war. And my guess is, if that's true, because that's what it sounds like based on what they're getting, President Trump, he said over the last couple of days that he's going to declare a state of emergency in regards to the southern border and other things to get, so he can get things done quickly, like close the border, finish the wall, deportations. That's going to be done through a national emergency order. If it is China that's behind the drones, which it sounds like it is, if it's China that's behind the drones, he's going to use that to take back the Panama Canal. Because he says that China's running the Panama Canal, which is a strategic danger, right? That's a vital thing of shipping. Without if the Panama Canal were shut down, it would cause economic mayhem worldwide, hardcore for the United States. He's going to use the drones to take back the Panama Canal from Panama. I'm telling you. And we're in for some really exciting times. We're 10 days away from the inauguration, and things are going to happen fast. They're going to be exciting. In fact, things are going to happen so fast, Kathy, we're not even going to be able to keep up with it because not only does Trump have a lot to do, he's been planning for it. He has 100 executive orders already prepared.
Yeah, no, since Obama, they have done nothing. Maybe even before that, even with Clinton, with NAFTA, everything they have done has made us vulnerable.
That's right.
And has made America weaker. So Trump is going to reverse that and, put everything in reverse and go back to making us strong again and get to the bottom of all of this stuff. I wanted to ask you real quick, I didn't pick up on this. We watched the Jimmy Carter funeral, and I know a lot of people talked about this. And Garth Brooks, who looks like a science experiment with his face. When I was in college, Garth Brooks was it. I was in college in the early 90s, and man, he was popular. But you didn't even recognize him yesterday.
When Garth Brooks came up with Trish, now I'm not a country music fan. If there's a song on that's good, I'll listen to it, although they were singing the Beatles.
Well, I want to talk about that. That's what I was getting to.
I recognize Trisha Yearwood, but I didn't recognize Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks, and this is just my opinion, when I saw him at the Jimmy Carter funeral, he is so unrecognizable.
Yes, he looks awful.
And he's one of the most famous country artists in history.
She has ruined him. His wife is so liberal and woke, like she has turned him into a girly man. He looks like a weird freak.
He's had more cosmetic work than Trey Gowdy. If Garth Brooks did not have Trisha Yearwood with him, okay, because you can recognize her, he could go into any place in the United States and not be recognized.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
He could go into Walmart, a football game, walk into ride a subway. You would not know it was Garth Brooks. I was in shock. He is so
woke. He's like Howard Stern.
His face looks, it's like he's had a face transplant.
Yeah, well, I didn't pick up on this. They sang Imagine by John Lennon.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
And that, I didn't even think about it. That is a secular song. The first line is Imagine There's No Heaven. That's the first line of the song.
What it's about is you're talking about Imagine There's No Heaven. Yeah, that's
there's no countries, there's no possessions. It is an anti-religious song. It is the opposite of a Christian song. It is a secular song, and it's a song that talks about having no religions. Imagine this was for the funeral of a man who was very religious, supposedly a Baptist, Southern Baptist. You don't get more religious than that. I mean, other than like a Catholic, but Southern Baptist, I've lived in the Bible Belt. Let me tell you, they're hardcore. And that's who chose that song. I want to know, because that was a very anti-Christian song.
Yeah, it's not just secular.
It's a communist song.
It's anti-Christian. It's a hardcore. It's
a communist song. Really,
it's not appropriate in to sing in a church. I'll tell you that. It's pretty offensive.
And the whole thing, because I got the lyrics here. It says, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but we know the song, but I'm not the only one." So these are all the things. Imagine no possessions.
John Lennon was
imagine all the people sharing all the world. Blah blah blah. But the first line, imagine there's no heaven or a hell. I mean, I think this song, I'm guessing, goes against everything Carter stood for, unless he became an atheist later in life.
No, he was...
this was just the most bizarre pick for a funeral song.
President Carter, when he was retired, before he lost his wits with the age, he taught Sunday school. After he was president, every Sunday.
I don't get who chose this song.
So, no.
It had to have been one of his kids.
All the problems with President Carter, he was a Christian. He taught Sunday school. He was Southern Baptist. And I'm shocked.
Usually you sing Amazing Grace, stuff like that at a funeral, not Imagine, which is an anti-religious song.
My guess is who picked that song, it was one of two people, okay? It was either the Carter family.
Had to be.
Or it was Garth Brooks. And I lean towards Garth Brooks, and I'll tell you why. Garth Brooks, who's not recognizable, I mean, it was very strange. He's up there with Trisha Yearwood doing a duet. He did all the lyrics. She barely sang. So he was, you know what I mean? So it's hard to believe that Trisha Yearwood had anything to do with the choice, because she didn't have any lyrics to sing.
No, but she got up there with him.
It was, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
And why did they choose Garth Brooks? Well, he's a country guy.
I'm surprised. Maybe he was friends with President Carter.
I mean, I would think they would choose, if a country singer, somebody from Georgia. Garth Brooks is from Oklahoma. There's plenty of country singers from Georgia.
There's got to be.
I didn't think about it at the time. I thought that's a strange song at a funeral. but I really didn't think about the lyrics. But a lot of people are talking about it on X.
If you could have
how it was such a horrible song.
If you could have any singers living singing at your funeral, who would it be?
Well, I like the song "Hallelujah" by Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, that's a great song.
That's probably the song
But who would you want to sing? That's a great song.
That's about the Psalms that David wrote.
That's a great one.
Living,
they got to be alive. They got to be alive.
Probably Neil Diamond.
Is he alive?
Yes, I love Neil Diamond.
Okay.
How about you?
A living singer?
Yeah.
That's so hard. But I don't have that many. I mean, I listen to music a lot more than you might think, but I listen to.
It would have been John Denver, but he's dead. John
they got to be alive.
Was my favorite.
I listen to basically the same 2 or 3 groups every time I listen to music.
You'd want Natalie Merchant.
I listen to 10,000 Maniacs and Aha 95% of the time.
Aha's good.
Followed by Van Halen. So,
maybe Elton John.
If I was going to pick a singer to sing at my funeral, it would probably be. I don't know if I could do a duet. It would be Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth singing a duet, and hopefully they wouldn't get into a fight.
That's absurd.
I love Van Halen, and they're both great.
I think my pick's better.
With Van Halen, I was a big David Lee Roth.
I love Van Halen.
When Van Halen came out with Jump and on the 1984
that was
album.
A great album.
That was a big thing.
Panama.
Yeah. And when David Lee Roth left Van Halen, I didn't listen to Van Halen for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, this new guy in Van Halen, but it's David Lee Roth. And then I started.
Sammy Hagar's good.
I started listening to Sammy Hagar, and his songs are, what is, I mean, he's great. I mean,
he's got a great voice.
He's amazing. He's as much as I love David Lee Roth, he's better
Sammy
than David
Hagar.
Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth's kind of a clown.
Well, if it was David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, they would get into a fight right before the funeral, and nobody would end up singing, right? But you can let us know in the comments.
I would choose Neil Diamond.
But you made a good point though about this. I don't think it's the Beatles. That's a John Lennon solo.
It's a John Lennon song, yeah.
John Lennon, imagine there's no possessions while he's living in,
the first line is imagine there's no heaven. You sing that at a funeral of a dead guy.
It's really bad.
That's a Baptist. That was crazy. I would love to know who chose that song because it is all over X.
The thing about music, I give you an example. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, is an anti-American left-wing socialist song.
Yeah.
And because it says Born in the USA, people grab onto that song. It's an anti-American song, and very hardcore. And most people, and
what's the name of that movie with Tom Cruise?
Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, it's kind of the same deal.
And most people, I think, are kind of like me. I don't pay that much attention to the lyrics most of the time. I like the melody.
See, I pay attention
songs.
to the lyrics.
So I don't think most people gave much of a thought to imagine being an anti. It was a funny thing when you talk about the Beatles.
I just thought it was a strange song at first to choose. Then it kind of hit me today. When
Obama was president, he had some event at the White House, and he had Jerry Seinfeld there. And Jerry Seinfeld got up in the East Room in front of President Obama, and Paul McCartney was there. And Jerry Seinfeld did a stand-up act, and he goes up to Paul McCartney during a stand-up act. This is at the White House. He says, She's only 17. You know what I mean? I don't know what you mean, Paul McCartney. And then he goes up to Obama and says, Mr. President, do you know what Paul McCartney means by she's only 17? But Obama's like, no, it was pretty funny. But what did Garth Brooks do to his face? I mean, that is, the thing about that last thing, what you said is so true. He's been metrosexualized by his left-wing wife.
I mean,
what's happened to men?
Well, you know what?
What's happened to men?
You know what, though? It might not be her fault. He could be, I'm not accusing him of anything or saying anything, but maybe he's like Bruce Jenner and has those tendencies.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Feminizing himself.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Because he is unrecognizable. If he was not standing up there with a guitar singing, I would not know who the hell that was with his wife. Because you said there's no way that's Garth Brooks. Well, I said, Brian, that's Garth Brooks. He's with his wife.
You were in the other room. I said, Kathy, who is this singing? when they first went up there, I'm like, is this Jimmy Carter's son? Who is this guy that's going up there to sing? And I said, Kathy, who is
blame
this?
His wife for his issues.
And you said, that's Garth Brooks. I said, that's not Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, that's
Even though
Trisha.
she's very liberal, but
Oh my goodness.
He is definitely altered his looks. Maybe something's going on with him that we don't know.
Now, I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. And Kathy, you corrected me, rightly so. I've been saying for a while that Dr. Philip Appleton has rid me of pain 6 times. It's actually been 7 because I had 2 injuries to one of my shoulders. I had 2 different falls, and he rid me of pain from both injuries. Okay, so Dr. Appleton, with his laser away pain treatment, has rid me of pain 7 times. And all 7 times when he's treated me, the pain has not returned. Remember, no drugs, no needles, no injections, no downtime. It's completely pain-free, and it works. It's amazing. His laser away pain treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of, a bunch I've never heard of, and I'm learning about new pains all the time. The most recent time Dr. Appleton treated me, I was talking to Dr. Appleton, I guess about a week or so ago, and I said that because when I go in there, I don't really care what the pain is, right? Like what's causing it. I just want it gone.
Yeah, because pain radiates too.
Oh,
so you might have pain.
Like
it's the worst in one spot, but it'll radiate throughout down your arm into your neck, and you know what I mean. It can radiate into other areas, so it's not just that one spot that hurts. It can go down into your whole arm.
So the last time that he rid me of pain was in my left shoulder, and I have had something that's called frozen shoulder, which is more common in women than men, but men do get it too. He said you had frozen shoulder. And I never heard of that before. And I said, what is that? And he explained it to me. And and that's a very common thing, frozen shoulder. And let me tell you, very painful. The way it felt. And I couldn't describe the pain. I told Dr. Appleton, because he gave me an exam. I said, the pain is so bad when in the shoulder, when I move my arm, that it's just for a second, but I feel like I'm going to fall to the ground and pass out. He says, does it feel like a bolt of electricity? I said, that's exactly how it feels. I didn't even think about it. It's exactly how it feels, a bolt of electricity. And I am pain-free 7 times. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain, too. Online, you can find him at AppletonChiro.com, AppletonChiro.com. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. You can also give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And again, online, AppletonChiro.com. Make sure you tell them Brian Craig sent you. Okay, we'll take our last break and be right back.
Attention all cat and dog parents. Does your furry family member deserve the very best? Of course they do. And that's what you will find with Chef Kitty, the brand that brings gourmet joy to your pet's taste buds. Pets aren't just companions, they're our family. And just like family, they deserve top-notch care. And that's why Chef Kitty cooks up nutritious, all-natural treats with high-quality ingredients from trusted farms and fisheries. Cage-free chicken that's rich in protein and vitamins without a trace of grain, preservatives, additives, colorants, or GMOs. Everything Chef Kitty makes is human-grade quality, crafted to perfection to keep your pets healthy and happy. Chef Kitty's bestsellers include freeze-dried chicken treats and waffle treats, bursting with natural flavors. It's not just a treat, it's love and nutrition in each and every bite. Visit chef-kitty.com and discover the secret to making your pet's tails wag with delight. Chef-kitty.com, where your pet's happiness and health come first. Chef-kitty.com. What if a science experiment in your garage could change the fate of the entire planet Earth? From author Devin Farina comes a book the entire family will enjoy together. August Cole and the Intergalactic Race. Available on Amazon. Meet 11-year-old science genius August Augie Cole. He accidentally catapults the planet Earth into an intergalactic race against the universe's fiercest competitors. Armed with his quantum-powered racer, a brilliant sister who always has his back, and a team of genius friends from around the world, Augie's mission is clear: win the race or lose Earth forever. The competition? Alien civilizations with unimaginable technology. The stakes higher than Augie ever dreamed. From blazing across the Great Wall of China to speeding through the depths of the Pacific Ocean, his journey is filled with wild twists and breathtaking challenges. But to defeat the undefeated champions for 1,000 races, he'll need more than just science. He'll need heart, teamwork, and the courage to believe in himself. Perfect for readers readers who love epic adventures, STEM, and unforgettable heroes. August Cole and the Intergalactic Race is a thrilling journey that proves you don't need superpowers to be extraordinary. Order your copy right now on Amazon. August Cole and the Intergalactic Race from author Devin Farina. And join the Intergalactic Race. Calling all book lovers, there's a podcast just for you. The Peculiar Book Club, now in its 6th season. Hosted by award-winning author and TV personality, Brandy Scalace. The Peculiar Book Club isn't your ordinary book club. It's where readers meet authors. From best-selling authors across every genre, history, mystery, science, nature, and more. You'll even hear about new releases before anyone else. Add the Peculiar Book Club to your Spotify playlist right now. Life is full of challenges, but what if you could turn your toughest obstacles into your greatest victories? From author Vernon Turner comes the #1 Amazon bestseller, Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose. In this heartfelt recap of his life's journey, author Vernon Turner shares the tools and strategies that helped him overcome the unthinkable. Along the way, he highlights the inspiring stories of 3 remarkable individuals whose journeys mirror his own. It's a guide for anyone searching for strength, resilience, and a deeper purpose in life. The author's mission is simple: to help change and save as many lives as possible. Available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook. Are you ready to break through your limits and find your purpose? Then order Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose from author Vernon Turner on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, so Zuckerberg went on with Rogan, and the interview dropped today. I've seen some of it. I learned something about Joe Rogan I did not know, which was disturbing. He's an atheist.
Oh.
And he had a Christian scholar on recently. He's open to the idea now.
He just had Mel Gibson on. I want to watch that.
Mel Gibson. Yeah, the Mel Gibson one I've seen, which is amazing.
He talks about Jesus and the resurrection and Catholicism. I want to watch that.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I know this is probably not the right way to be, but I get really creeped out by atheists. I just get this sense of evil from atheists. I don't like, I've told you guys many times, I've told you, Kathy, that I used to be a big fan of Ricky Gervais. I think he's one of the funniest men that's ever lived. Not Don Rickles and,
Oh, Don Rickles was funny, yeah.
But very funny. And I'll never forget.
Ricky Gervais is pretty funny.
Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes, when he hosted that first time and he was talking about Harvey Weinstein and they were go, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I know he's your friend." It was like, that's the best. He's like, I don't care. I don't care.
I love what he said.
They don't have me back. I don't care.
Because he's got FU money.
But when I found out he was an atheist, it spoiled his comedy for me. But anyway, Joe Rogan had Zuckerberg on, and I watched a big chunk of that. And there's clips all over X about it. And he was talking about the government pressure and everything. I don't trust Zuckerberg. I'm never going to trust Zuckerberg. The interview, the clips I've seen of the interview make me trust him less. He was talking about the pressure the government put on him at Facebook to censor things they didn't want out there, misinformation and all this stuff.
We'll do that again.
And then Joe Rogan said, when you say they at the government, who? And then he says, well, they didn't go to me directly. They were talking to people that work at Facebook. And then he was talking about the fact checkers and how that got out of control. I have been saying, and I know this is not out of the box thinking. I think a lot of people believe this. I've been saying forever and ever and ever that Mark Zuckerberg is controlled by the deep state, that he's just a front man. And when I saw this interview with him,
yeah, you've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. The Dorsey, who was the Twitter guy. The first time I really paid attention to Rogan is when he had Dorsey on with Tim Pool, and then he had the woman from Twitter who was in charge of all the censorship with Dorsey. And Dorsey, you could tell by watching that, was really just a figurehead at Twitter, but he was more involved than Zuckerberg. When I watched this interview with Zuckerberg has less control over Facebook than the King of England has over the British government. I mean, he's just
he's just a figurehead.
He's just a figurehead. You're
thinking is he is only saying what the deep state is telling him to say.
I believe. Well, see,
Brian, if he was a puppet before, he's still a puppet. So he is only saying what they're telling him to say.
Yeah,
that's not that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Then.
So let me tell you where this comes from.
So you're right about that.
When Al Gore was running for president against George Bush in 2000, they had a debate, and Al Gore used to say a lot of things that were stupid. But one of the things he said that he was made fun of was, "I invented the internet," and people laughed at him. That was partially true, and let me explain. Since we were little kids in the 70s, maybe even in the 60s, but certainly in the 70s, the government had the early version of the internet. It was called the intranet, I-N-T-R-A instead of ra, intranet. And the intranet was the government computer networking system. And that's what became the internet that was available to everyone.
And maybe they were behind inventing smartphones too.
I've always believed that the internet was released to the world by the government to monitor us. We all have those devices, the Alexas and all those things. We all have them.
Everybody has a smartphone.
They're listening to you all the time. Your phone listens to you. Your Alexa and the similar devices listen to you. And I believe that the deep state has been behind all of the big internet developments. The internet, Facebook, Twitter, everything. Okay. And when I saw Joe Rogan interview, like Dorsey, to me seemed like some hippie that was on some weird drugs that they make on the space station and they bring down to Earth or something. But he was a little involved. I was surprised how little Zuckerberg knows about anything. If you go and listen to that interview that Rogan did with him today, Zuckerberg, it's vague generalities, nothing specific. It's very
that
weird.
Means he's still a puppet.
He's a puppet. He's a puppet.
You think all of a sudden they change the situation?
And because Trump is coming back, the other side are regrouping. But
like I said, it doesn't matter really about Zuckerberg because Facebook is becoming obsolete. Facebook is an app that I think is a dinosaur now, and I know people are on it, and we have a group on it, and
the Brian Craig Show podcast group,
But it does not have the growth of X.
It's a step away from being MySpace.
It does not have the easy interaction as X. Everybody's on X.
It's a dated platform.
It's a dated platform. It's very dated. And now X has chats. They have spaces. They have all these things. It's innovative. Facebook is very outdated. And that is...
It's on its way out.
It's on its way out. And that's part of the problem, too.
Yeah. So if you watch that, I'm curious to know if you had the same feeling with Zuckerberg that I had, that he's really has no say over anything. One other... before you get... Kathy's got a couple things that you want to get to, but one other thing before I forget. Fetterman's going to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump. And here's the thing about Fetterman. President Trump meeting with Fetterman is a very smart move. We're going to find that Fetterman is going to vote with Trump on a lot of things in the Senate, including the confirmation of the cabinet members. So that's important, right? We have a majority, but we don't have a supermajority in the Senate. Fetterman is rebranding himself because Pennsylvania is so red. He's trying to sound reasonable. He plans on running for president.
He has
on the Democrat ticket
with his state
in 2028. So and by the way, in 2028, his Senate seat's up too. So he's got a Senate run in 4 years, and I think he plans on running for president. So he's trying to sound more red. Don't trust Fetterman.
You don't think it's possible that he was always red and he just went as a Democrat thinking?
No.
What if he switches parties?
That would be different, because if he switched parties, we get
That would be significant.
The thing about the reason that would be different, not that I would want to vote for him for president. In the Senate, he would be if he switched parties and became a Republican, he would caucus with the Republicans. That gives us a greater majority.
Right. So if he did that,
but now he's with the Democrats.
He would have to do that to get people to trust
him.
But
he's trying to fool people. And I don't trust Fetterman.
Okay. So I have a few announcements here. Tom Homan said that he's going to hold weekly White House briefings to announce arrests and crackdowns on deportations. That will be fun. That'll be something to look forward to every week from the White House.
You know what that's going to be like? If you during the first Gulf War, General Schwarzkopf used to have those regular briefings, and he would show us what they were doing against the Republican Guard. Remember that?
Yes.
What Homan's talking about doing is giving us after-action reports on what they did that week so far as deportations.
And let people know.
And what'll happen is he won't just say, okay, we deported 20,000 people out of Seattle. He'll tell us who they were and what they had been doing.
Exactly. Like this ex-gang members and this and that.
Yeah.
Also, Trump said that this is what was said in court. Trump said they impinged on my reputation so I would lose the election, which obviously did not work. He said that is why they did this to malign his reputation and try to keep him from getting elected, which didn't work.
That's
and
right.
This is Juan Merchan's statement to Trump. I wanted to read. It's very interesting. Okay. And this is in quotes. At this time, I impose unconditional discharge to cover all 34 counts. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office. So, unquote. That is a very interesting.
I think he's scared.
Well, when you wish somebody Godspeed, that means may God be with you.
Yeah.
On your whatever you're doing. That's almost like blessing that person. Like, I wish you Godspeed. May God be with you. That was such a weird, interesting thing for him to say. It was basically, to me, like I think you're right. He's a little nervous. Things didn't work out the way it was planned. And I think he is kind of like, I can't completely wipe out your conviction because certain people did certain things and I'm accountable to them.
Yeah.
But this is what I can do. I can make sure you don't serve any time or have. So he found a way to win on both sides in his mind. And him wishing Trump Godspeed in his second term, it's just a strange wording for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what you say to a friend or somebody you wish well. It's a strange thing.
They all thought that this is when all this lawfare started. They thought that either Trump was not going to win the nomination and then that he was going to lose the election.
Yeah, he said
he
that's
won.
why they did it.
Not only did he win, he has a mandate.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, like Merchan, is lower level. Okay, he's on the outside of these Washington insiders, and to me he sounds scared. Like he could end up being a cooperating witness, and which would not surprise me. And let me tell you something: if he became a cooperating witness, I'd be okay with that because we need witnesses and evidence.
Let's see what happens.
I would rather him go to prison.
Don't let your imagination go away with you because you're. You
don't think there's going to be any justice for these people?
I don't know, but don't get your hopes up.
Trump wants to clear his name forever.
I agree with that. Yeah, it says here, Trump. You said he has 100 executive orders he plans to issue on the first day. That's crazy. That was
he just got to sign him because he's got to be president before he
drawn up. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying don't let your imagination run wild with that because you know what I mean. We don't know what's going to occur or how the chips are going to fall. I think he will give Pam Bondi certain directives and be like, I want you to get to the bottom of the J6 committee.
Yes, that's important too.
And these lawfare cases. I think those are the top of the list.
Yes.
For Trump, because I think you're right. He wants, it's
and
not
his
just
assassination
about, it's not just about,
attempts.
Right, not just about clearing his name. It's about exposing the corruption behind all of this.
So that they're not.
That's more important.
See,
that's
because,
why he's in office.
Because when he's out of office, if this isn't done, these people will just be back because they're still there.
I believe that Trump believes that he is on a mission from above, and this is part of that mission.
Save our country.
Is to not only save the country, but shine a light on the corruption that has been going on, that they have targeted onto him. Democrats are always corrupt. That's their personality. That's never going to change. It's who they decide to target And what they decide to do with that can change sometimes, but they're always corrupt. Oh, that's not going to be any different.
President Trump said
it's just their personality.
Something today that was very interesting about Greenland. He is talking about Greenland becoming part of the United States, not as a territory, but as a state.
Yes, he is.
As a state.
He said that as a state.
And that means they'd get 2 senators, and it's a small population, so they'd probably have 1 congressman.
Yeah, bring it on.
But they have 1 House member, because there's such a small population. They don't have enough. There are not enough people for even a congressional district.
The last state we acquired was what, Alaska in the 50s?
Hawaii,
and that was in the 50s.
Alaska and Hawaii were 49 and 50. Hawaii's the 50th. But they were territories. But the reason that we haven't had Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and things become states is because they get 2 senators, and then the House members get divided up, and it throws the balance of power in Congress up in the air, and none of the parties would do that. So President Trump must think that Greenland would be 2 Republican senators, would be my guess, right? Because it does seem to be MAGA country.
There's
only 56,000 people there.
What they might do then is make a deal, and they might say, fine, if you make that a state, you got to make Puerto Rico a state. And then you have 2 new states.
Or DC.
Ugh, God, DC's what a joke.
Oh, Puerto Rico's Democrat too, though. So who knows? But I was surprised to hear him
I'd
say,
rather see Puerto Rico become a state.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear him say as a state, and he was very when he said that, he was very firm about a state.
I think
he's selling it to the people in Greenland.
I think Trump wants to create a legacy that is outside of all of this courtroom stuff, something else that involves land. That seems really important to him. And acquiring a 51st state would be huge.
Oh, yeah.
Not a territory, a state. That is huge. That is something that would really solidify a legacy for him that they can never take away from him, is that he acquired another state. And it's a massive, it's the largest island on the planet.
Bigger than Australia,
massive
which
piece
blew me
of
away.
Land. It's huge. And I think that is going to be one of his top priorities, is making that. I don't even know how that would happen. I mean, we weren't alive when Hawaii, and you said they were territories first. Does it have to be a territory? No. Right? It can. How does this occur?
It's been the process. I don't think you can come in as just. You can't come in as just a state historically. You have to. There's a process. You have to be a territory first. There's a process, and it takes a while. And yeah. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roofing repair or replacement, Tom Laporta can help. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. And because he's a contractor as well as a roofer, Florida law allows Tom Laporta to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of repairs or replacement of your roof, which speeds the process up a lot. It really does. When you need a new roof, you need roof replacement. You need it done right away, right? You don't want to wait. You got a leak in your roof, right? You're not getting your roof repaired or replaced for aesthetics. You're getting it replaced or repaired because it needs done, and speeding up the process helps a lot. Okay, he works on every type of structure, residential, commercial, as well as municipal. He works with every type of roofing material. He has access to the same roof tiles on Mar-a-Lago. So those are very specialized and rare roof tiles, the ones that are on Mar-a-Lago, with special colors and everything else. And they have to also, it's a multicolored roof that are unique colors. And they also, since it's multicolored, they have to be installed in a certain way to get that Mar-a-Lago look. So if you'd like to have a Mar-a-Lago roof and sleep under the same roof that President Trump and Melania do, tell Tom Laporta about that when you call, and he'll take care of you. I'm going to give you his cell phone number. Now, he only gives his cell phone number out to our listeners. So when you go to his website, the cell phone number is not on the website, laportaroofing.com. That's the main office number. But your best bet is to call him on his cell phone or text him. He does answer. And this is the same phone number that I use when Tom and I text all the time. And it's the same number that we text all the time through. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. If you're new to the program, make sure that you follow and subscribe wherever you are listening to us on. And I also want to take a moment, Kathy, to thank our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of the episode. Patreon supporters, you all have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Dale, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. All right, we're out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.